So how did I go from only having $400 to my name over 4 years ago to making upwards of $1,094 in a single day at only 21 years old? That's exactly what I'm going to share with you in this video. Now, ever since I was a kid, I've always had the desire to be extremely wealthy. I grew up in a lower middle class family, and every evening over dinner, I would hear my parents complaining about the price of basic things like lettuce, bread, kiwis. On the outside, it could have looked like we were just your average regular middle class family, but inside, it was a broken household. My mother worked a very dangerous night job to provide for us. She worked nights at the hospital, and she was dealing with dangerous patients. And when I mean dangerous, I mean thugs that got into knife fights, drug lords, convicted felons that wanted the nurses to bring them McDonald's at 3 a.m. And on top of that, all of my life, I saw my father hating his life, being miserable as hell because he was stuck in a dead-end job he hated. And so of course, naturally, he fell for many vices, addictions, he got drunk, he got violent, and he'd take it out on me. So growing up in the lower middle class, I saw how lack of money affects people. Now when I'm about to turn 12, three major things happen at this point in my life. My mother gets diagnosed with cancer. Then I realize I can't actually join the special forces, which was my dream at the time, because of medical issues, and I will never be able to. And third, I got into a small private middle school near my hometown. So whereas before, I had never been exposed to wealth or to luxury, now I started to see what life was like for wealthy people. I could see these wealthy kids getting dropped off to school in BMWs, in Porsches by their parents. I would hear them speak about their vacations after summer, while all this time, I had been forced to stay in my small room because we didn't really have money for real vacations. And so very early on, I became aware of the fact that if you made lots of money, you would be living a pretty damn incredible life. Which is why I made it my mission to become successful. Not only to be able to provide for the people that I love, to be able to give back to my parents, but also to finally be able to enjoy life. Because I saw it with my father. There is no point in living a life where all you do is work a job that you hate to pay bills and pay taxes. So as a teen, I decided to start my first business. Because I saw that this was a pretty popular business model in the US, I decided to try selling candies in the neighborhood and at school. So I remember just going to the store, buying lots of candies, and then the same day I go in the neighborhood, I knock on people's doors, and I try to sell them my candies. Now most people reject my offer, but some people agree to buy my candies. I also tried selling candies at school, because I knew that people liked candies and they didn't like the food of the cafeteria. Now of course, because I was one of the only broke kids trying to sell candies, people made fun of me, especially the wealthier kids, because from their point of view, they couldn't understand why this broke kid was trying to sell candies. Now in the end, I ended up quitting that business, even though I managed to make $17 an hour knocking on people's doors in the neighborhood and selling candies. And at the time, that was more than minimum wage in France. But the effort to reward ratio simply wasn't worth it in my eyes. But then, one day I stumbled upon a YouTube video that changed my life forever. I was 12 years old when I suddenly had the random thought of typing how to get rich in the YouTube search bar, and I stumbled upon a video by an entrepreneur who showed how much money he made in the last month. And I remember it, the guy had generated over $72,000 in a month. Now at the time, I had never seen anything like it. To me, that was a huge amount of money. And as soon as I heard that, I thought, wow, if I made $70,000 in a month, I could do anything I want. I could even drive a Ferrari. Life would have no limits anymore. And what shocked me even more than how much money he made was how he made his money. He had an online business. He was doing affiliate marketing and also selling courses. And at the time, it shocked me that you could make so much money with simply a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection while you're traveling the world. That's exactly what he was doing. And so of course, what did I do? I binge watched all of his content, and I stumbled upon more creators like him on social media, and I started to watch more and more of their content. I would often go to bed very late at night because I would just be sitting in front of my computer with a notebook, a pen, watching their videos, and I would write everything down. I wanted to discover the secret to success. So while I was pretty sleep deprived during that time of my life, I learned a lot. So I decided I was going to start my first online business ever. And because at the time, back in like 2016, Instagram team pages were becoming very popular, I decided to start an Instagram team page where I would be posting motivational quotes for entrepreneurs. Now in the end, I ended up making $0 with that business. I was getting followers, likes pretty easily, up until an algorithm change made it more difficult to gain followers organically on Instagram at the time. Now I didn't give up on online business, but I gave up on this method. Now in 2019-2020, with my best friend of the time, we stumbled upon a new opportunity called dropshipping. It was sold as the best business model for beginners. Why? Because you could make money from the comfort of your home without having to show your face, make content, or reach out to leads, and also you would be selling products that already existed. And the big pro of dropshipping is that we wouldn't have to buy inventory upfront and have to store it in our parents' basement. We could just get started, create a store, sell a specific product, and and only when a customer would purchase it, then the product would be shipped to the customer, and we wouldn't have to lift a finger. The whole thing was automated. Now, to be completely honest with you, I didn't think this business model is gonna make me a millionaire, but I was just curious to try. So at the time, I was a broke high school student, I didn't have any income, but my best friend was working a part-time job. So he told me he was going to buy a $2,500 dropshipping course, and he asked me if I wanted to work on it with him. Of course I agreed. So we found the winning product after spying on the competition for days and nights, and we built an entire Shopify store around that product. We made some creatives for Facebook ads, and we launched our first ever ad campaign with no previous experience in paid advertising or in anything else. I remember just clicking on the button to launch the ad campaign on Facebook and closing my laptop and going to the living room to have dinner with my parents. And half an hour later, when I come back to my room, I notice on my phone dozens of WhatsApp notifications. My friend was going crazy because we had gotten a sale. I couldn't even believe it. So I powered on my laptop and I logged in onto Shopify, and I was shocked. I could see it on the dashboard. We had made $50 selling a flat squeeze mop. I can tell you for a fact that this moment changed my life. Making your first sale is an incredible moment in the life of any entrepreneur. And before I had my first sale online, I would see other successful guys telling me it was possible to have a profitable online business. But deep down, I was still a bit skeptical. I wasn't sure if I could do it because I had never experienced it myself. But in that instant, when I saw the money on my dashboard, I realized yes, it's possible, and that only fueled me to never give up. Now, of course, I had a feeling that dropshipping was too good to be true. What happened is Facebook ads quickly ate up all of our ad budget. So we had made $50, but we had spent $60. The problem was, not only did we have to pay for the physical product, the shipping, but also for the Facebook ads. So in the end, we lost something like $100. Because my friend and I were both broke at the time, we couldn't afford to keep spending hundreds of dollars per day on Facebook ads. So we had to stop this business model. And to tell you the truth, every time we tried to build a new Shopify store based around a new winning product and launch some Facebook ads, our ad accounts would get banned without any explanation. So we would spend all of this time trying to find a winning product, building a store, only to have no way to market our product because Facebook ads would not allow us to do so. So we stopped dropshipping with Facebook ads because we can't afford it. But then a few months later, we stumbled upon another opportunity. This time, we could do dropshipping but using organic marketing. And instead of making a store around only a trendy product, what we were going to do instead was take a completely different approach. We were going to build a proper e-commerce brand. So that's when we created what we called Belka Aesthetics. We decided we were going to sell fitness clothes for women because we knew that was a huge market, and in the years to come, it would only keep growing. It's not like the fidget spinners or the rose bears. Those weren't trends that would disappear as fast as they appeared. So we bought another dropshipping course for like $900 or something like that. And in that course, the method that was taught to get customers was actually to leverage affiliate marketing. I would spend all day reaching out to small Instagram influencers between 500 to 5,000 followers to ask them if they wanted to work for us and to become our affiliate. And whenever one of these influencers would say yes, we would create a special discount code branded to them that they could share with their followers. And every time one of their followers would buy from our website using their promo code, they would receive 10% of the profits as a commission. And surprisingly, that worked. Honestly, I didn't expect it to go anywhere, but within just 3 days of starting, we already had $100 in sales. And at the time, that was crazy because I was only 17. Now looking back, I'm pretty sure we could have taken this further. But of course, as you know, when things start to go well, inevitably shortly after they go to shit. At that time in my life, I had severe shiny object syndrome. I couldn't stick to anything longer than a few weeks. So my problem was, we would be working on this e-commerce store, but then I would see what the competition was doing, what they were selling, and I would want to copy them because they looked more successful than us. So in the span of just a few months, we went from selling flat squeeze mops, acupressure mats, Japanese hoodies, bracelets, fitness tools for women, and the list goes on and on. So eventually, my friend and I were sick and tired of doing this because I can't stick to anything, so it goes nowhere, and we decided to stop doing dropshipping completely. And I think that deep down, the reason why I couldn't stick to anything back then was because I wasn't aligned with my purpose. I knew I didn't want to resell some crappy, overpriced AliExpress products on a pretty website. I knew I wanted to do something closer to educating, to teaching. I wanted to be directly in contact with people. And years in the past, I had come across this business model that seemed very interesting to me: high-ticket consulting. The business model was simple. You would be providing either services or coaching to business owners or to consumers, and you would be charging a high-ticket price, anywhere from $1,500 up to $10,000. Now, if you sell something which gets insane results, the price tag can even be higher. I know some coaching offers that are like $40,000. So at the time, I decided to start my first consulting business. I was going to help entrepreneurs to improve their performance through increasing their productivity with biohacking. Now, to tell you the truth, I got that offer from a successful competitor because my logic was, if someone is doing that successfully, it means there is a market. It means there are customers who want what I have to offer. The problem was, at the time, I was too paralyzed to take action. I ended up procrastinating, working on my business for 7 full months because I couldn't get over the fear of being rejected. And that's when I hit my lowest low. I didn't know what to do anymore. I knew I wanted to become successful, but for some reason, I couldn't take action. I was too afraid to reach out to leads on LinkedIn. I was too paralyzed to conduct sales meetings. And I knew if I stayed like that, then I would never achieve anything and my dreams would die with me. I needed to act quickly, but I felt like I just couldn't. Until one day I thought, you know what? Fear is preventing me from going after what I want. So if I felt no fear, then I could do anything, and surely by now I would be extremely successful. And that's when I had a crazy idea. I thought, you know what if I forced myself to do all of the things I'm so afraid to do? Surely if I did that, I would make myself limitless, fearless. And so that's exactly what I did. If I was afraid to pick up the phone to call a stranger, that's exactly what I would do. If I was afraid to go for a walk outside, which at the time was the case because I had severe anxiety, I forced myself to grab my running shoes and to go outside. And I hadn't gone outside for a walk in months. That's how anxious I was. And at the same time, I started learning from mentors in the space like Sam Ovens or other people to learn the science of outreach, the science of sales, the science of having a good offer. And at some point, with my newfound confidence and my new knowledge, I decided I was finally ready to start a proper consulting business this time. I was going to offer lead generation services for entrepreneurs because I figured if I need to figure out a way to book meetings for myself to make that business successful, then I know other business owners want to have more meetings booked as well. So I started to reach out to prospects on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, and a lot of people actually answer. Some people reject my offer. I offered my leads a free video in which I explained exactly how I could book them more meetings, and most people actually took my offer. Every single day I had dozens of warm leads. If you don't know, a warm lead is basically someone who's shown interest in what you have to offer. And then those warm leads, they would later on book sales meetings with me, and they were very likely to become paying customers. And that's how I started getting my first couple customers. Now at the time, I was charging around $2,000 per month per customer. Now on sales calls, I noticed that lots of entrepreneurs couldn't afford to pay me multiple full figures for my done-for-you services, either because they were just getting started or because they were still struggling to get customers. And every time I felt bad for these people because it's not that long ago I was in their shoes. I too was struggling to get customers. I too didn't know how to book meetings. I too had so many fears, so many anxieties that I couldn't force myself to overcome. So every time I would give them a bit of advice for free because I felt bad for them. Now more and more people started to ask me in my DMs how I was booking so many meetings and if I could teach them to do it. Around that same time, I started to make more content on social media. If you take a look at the first videos I posted on my YouTube back in 2022, they were video sales letters that I would show some of my prospects and then they would book a meeting with me. So because I had lots of people reach out to me, I figured, what if instead of booking meetings for others, doing it myself, I could teach them how to do it? That would be a way for me to help more people to get more customers without having to work more hours, which at some point wouldn't have been possible anyway, or without having to build a big team, which would have been difficult to manage. So I started to take some free calls with prospects to make sure this is something that they needed, not just something I thought they needed. And it turns out most people were struggling to get customers, and they were the ones who needed the most amount of help. They were also the ones who ironically couldn't afford mentors, and I realized they not only needed help with booking more meetings, but also with their sales, with their offer, even with their mindset, with their service delivery, and literally with everything else. Because I could have showed them how to book more meetings, or I could have done it for them myself. However, if their offer sucks, if no one wants what they have to offer, then no matter how many meetings they could book, it wouldn't matter in the end. They still wouldn't make more money. So that's when I created my first online training program, which was called Consulting Fastlane. The goal of that program was to take any beginner with no previous work experience or skills and to allow them to go from $0 to $5,000 and $10,000 per month selling services online using the exact strategies I personally used myself. And it's by selling this digital product that I was able to make upwards of $1,094 in a single day at only 21 years old. To get to that point, it took me a full decade of trying out every possible business you can think of and of getting rejected many times. So now the question becomes, how can you copy me? First, you need to select a path. Are you going to sell services or digital products? Services are easier to sell because people are lazy. They want you to do all of the work for them. Now you may wonder, what if I don't have any skills or work experience? You can sell services even if you don't know how to deliver that service yourself. You can deliver video editing services by getting a contractor or freelancer to do it for you. You help them get customers customers and you make money. Everybody wins. That's exactly what CEOs all over the world in any companies do. They get employees who do the work and they pay them. The other pro of selling services is that you only need a few customers to quit your job, to change your life forever. If you charge $2,000 per month, with 2 customers you're making $4,000 per month. Profit margins are very high because costs are very low. Now typically per customer, you are going to charge something like $500 per month up to $5,000 per month for complex services. The cons of selling services is that it's time consuming if you do it yourself, and that even if you leverage contractors, at some point if you want to scale past $10,000 per month, you need a big team, which is difficult to manage. When it comes to the pros of digital products, profit margins are very high, up to 98% if you use organic marketing to get customers. So it makes it a very scalable business model. Now if you make a digital product around an evergreen subject, like for instance how to lose weight, how to build muscle, how to do yoga, how to become more productive, you can sell that product for months and years to come, because typically the strategies that people need to use to lose weight, they won't be very different in a year from now compared to today. Now of course, digital products have their cons too. They are more difficult to sell and you need an audience if you truly want to make this work. Now having an audience doesn't mean you have to show your face. There are plenty of YouTube channels, Instagram accounts, TikTok pages who do this successfully and no one ever sees the face of the owner. That's what we call a faceless account. And finally, the last con of digital products is that typically because you need traffic on social media, it takes a bit longer to see results. So if you need money right now, I recommend going and selling services. Now I wanted to keep this video short and straight to the point, but if you want to hear my full story and if you want to discover the step-by-step process I used to generate over $1,000 in a single day at only 21 years old, I've made a free video in which I explain everything. That same video will also give you a deep dive into how to sell services online as well as how to sell digital products online. The link will be in the description below. So if you found this video helpful, share it with a friend and together let's blow up this YouTube channel and empower individuals across the globe to become financially free.